The text was already sent. 3 words that couldn't be taken back. I love you. It was meant for his wife, who'd been gone for 2 years. A small ritual of sending messages to her old number just to feel less alone in the quiet house. But tonight, in a fog of exhaustion and grief, the message went to the wrong person. It went to his boss, a CEO known for being tough, no nonsense, and completely unapproachable. What she replied left him speechless. Before we continue, let us know in the comments section where in the world you're tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories reach, and if this story speaks to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Isaac Walker sat on his couch, the house silent except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. His 9-year-old daughter, Allison, had been asleep for hours, but sleep wouldn't come for him. Not tonight. Not on the anniversary. 2 years. 2 years since Julia's laugh had filled these rooms. 2 years since he'd heard her voice call him from the kitchen, asking if he wanted coffee. 2 years of pretending he was okay during the day and falling apart when Allison couldn't see. He picked up his phone, scrolling to the contact he'd never been able to delete. Julia's number was still there, still saved with the heart emoji she'd added herself years ago. The phone company had disconnected the line months ago, but Isaac kept texting anyway. It was pathetic, maybe, but it was all he had. His fingers moved across the screen, typing out the words that had become a ritual. I love you. I miss you so much. Allison asked about you today. She wanted to know if you could see her from heaven. I didn't know what to say. He stared at the message for a long moment, and then hit send. The familiar whoosh sound filled the quiet room, and he set the phone down, closing his eyes. Then it buzzed. Isaac's eyes snapped open. His chest tightened. Julia's number never responded. It couldn't. He grabbed his phone, and his stomach dropped through the floor. The message hadn't gone to Julia. Erica Hayes, CEO. Oh God. Oh no, no, no. His hands started shaking. He'd sent it to Erica. Erica Hayes, his boss for the past 3 years. The woman who ran Summit Technologies with an iron fist and a permanent expression that said she had no time for anyone's nonsense. The 3 dots appeared at the bottom of the screen. She was typing. Isaac's mind raced. Should he explain? Apologize? Pretend his phone had been hacked? He started typing frantically. I'm so sorry, Ms. Hayes. That message wasn't meant for you. Please disregard. Her message came through before he could finish. Isaac, is everything okay? You don't seem like yourself. He stared at the screen. That wasn't what he'd expected. No irritation, no professional distance, just concern. His finger hovered over the keyboard. He could lie. Make up some excuse about the message being for a family member. Keep his personal life separate from work, like he'd done for 2 years. But something about her response, the gentleness in those simple words, cracked something open inside him. He typed slowly, his vision blurring. It was meant for my wife. Julia, she passed away 2 years ago. Tonight's the anniversary. I still text her sometimes when it gets hard. I'm sorry you had to see that. He hit send before he could second-guess himself, then sat there in the dark, his heart pounding. What had he just done? He just confessed his grief, his weakness, to the one person who could make his work life miserable. The response came faster than he expected. Isaac, I'm so sorry. You don't need to apologize for missing someone you loved. I understand more than you think. He read the message 3 times, trying to process it. Erica Hayes understood. The woman who'd never asked about his personal life, who barely made small talk in the elevator, who treated every interaction like a business transaction. Another message appeared. If You need someone to talk to, I'm here. Grief isn't something you should carry alone. Isaac set his phone down and pressed his palms against his eyes. He didn't know what to feel. Embarrassment still burned in his chest, but beneath it was something else. Something that felt almost like relief. He picked up the phone again. Thank you, Miss Hayes. That means more than you know. I've been trying to hold it together for Allison, but some days are harder than others. Please call me Erica, and I know exactly what you mean. I lost my mother 6 months ago. The holding it together part gets exhausting, doesn't it? Isaac sat up straighter. Erica had lost her mother. In all the meetings, all the project updates, all the brief conversations in the break room, she'd never mentioned it. Never shown a crack in that professional armor. I had no idea. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. It's strange how grief works. You think you're fine, and then something small, a song, a smell, a date, on the calendar, brings it all crashing back. Yes, exactly that. Isaac found himself typing faster now, the words coming easier. Tonight, Allison wanted to bake cupcakes because Julia used to make them with her every Friday. I tried, but I burned the first batch, and she just looked at me with these sad eyes. And He stopped typing, realizing he was rambling. But Erica's response came quickly. You're doing your best, Isaac. That's all any of us can do. Allison is lucky to have you. Isaac felt his throat tighten. When was the last time someone had told him he was doing a good job? When was the last time he'd let anyone see how much he was struggling? Thank you, Erica, really. I should let you get some rest. I'm sorry again for the confusion. Don't apologize. Get some sleep if you can. And Isaac, take tomorrow off if you need it. No questions asked. He stared at the message. Tomorrow was Saturday, so technically he'd be off anyway. But the gesture meant something. She was giving him permission to not be okay. Thank you. Good night. Good night, Isaac. He set his phone down and leaned back against the couch, his mind spinning. In 3 years of working at Summit Technologies, he'd never seen this side of Erica Hayes. She was always the boss. Brilliant, demanding, fair, but distant. Tonight, she'd been something else entirely. Human. Isaac closed his eyes, and for the first time in weeks, the weight on his chest felt just a little bit lighter. He wasn't sure what would happen on Monday when he saw her at the office. Would things be awkward? Would she pretend the conversation never happened? But right now, in this moment, he wasn't alone in his grief. And somehow, that changed everything. Monday morning came faster than Isaac wanted. He'd spent the entire weekend rehearsing what he'd say when he saw Erica. Maybe a simple nod of acknowledgement, maybe nothing at all. Maybe she'd want to forget the whole thing happened. He dropped Allison off at school, then headed to Summit Technologies, his stomach in knots. The elevator ride to the 5th floor felt longer than usual. When the doors opened, he walked toward his desk, keeping his head down. Isaac. He froze. That was Erica's voice, and it was coming from right behind him. He turned slowly, preparing for the awkward conversation. But what he saw made him forget every rehearsed line. Erica stood there in her usual business attire, but she was holding 2 cups of coffee and a small white bakery box. Good morning, she said, her expression softer than he'd ever seen it. Do you have a minute? Yes, of course. She gestured toward the small conference room at the end of the hall. Isaac followed, his mind racing. Was this about Friday night? Was she about to tell him to keep personal matters separate from work? Once inside, Erica set the coffee and box on the table. I hope you like vanilla lattes. I wasn't sure, so I got an extra shot of espresso just in case. That's perfect, actually. Thank you. She sat down, and Isaac noticed something different about her. The usual rigid posture was relaxed, and her eyes held a warmth he'd never seen in 3 years of quarterly reviews and project meetings. "I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation," Erica said quietly. "About what you said about Allison and the cupcakes. I know this might seem forward, but I wanted to bring you these." She opened the box, revealing 4 perfectly decorated cupcakes. "My mother and I used to bake together every Sunday. After she passed, I kept baking. It helps somehow." Isaac stared at the cupcakes, then at Erica. "You made these?" "This morning, actually. Couldn't sleep." She smiled, and it transformed her entire face. "I thought maybe you and Allison might enjoy them. And if you ever want to try baking again, I'd be happy to help. I've learned a few tricks for not burning things." Something in Isaac's chest cracked open. "Why are you doing this?" Erica met his eyes. "Because I know what it's like to carry grief alone. After my mother died, everyone at work tiptoed around me. They meant well, but it made me feel invisible. Like I had to pretend that everything was fine." She paused, her fingers tracing the edge of her coffee cup. "When I read your text Friday night, I recognized something. You're drowning, Isaac, and nobody should have to drown alone." Isaac felt his throat tighten. "I've been trying so hard to keep it together for Allison, to be strong for her." "You are strong, but strength doesn't mean doing it all by yourself." They sat in silence for a moment, and Isaac realized this was the most real conversation he'd had with anyone since Julia died. Not the polite condolences, not the careful, "How are you holding up?" questions that people asked but didn't really want answered. This was different. "Thank you, Erica. For the coffee, for the cupcakes, for everything." She nodded. "Anytime. I mean that." The following Saturday, Isaac was attempting to fix Allison's bicycle chain when his doorbell rang. He wiped his greasy hands on a rag and opened the door, expecting a delivery. Instead, Erica stood on his porch, holding a grocery bag and wearing jeans and a casual sweater. The first time he'd ever seen her in anything but business clothes. "I hope this isn't too intrusive," she said quickly, "but I thought maybe Allison would like to try baking cupcakes again, properly this time." Isaac's surprise must have shown on his face because Erica immediately started backtracking. "I'm sorry, this is too much, isn't it? I should have called first. I just thought—" "No," Isaac interrupted. "No, this is really kind of you. Please come in." Allison appeared in the hallway, her eyes widening when she saw Erica. "Ms. Hayes? What are you doing here?" Erica knelt down to Allison's level. "I heard you like cupcakes, and I thought maybe we could bake some together. Would that be okay?" Allison looked at her father, who nodded. Then she smiled, the first real smile Isaac had seen from her in weeks. "Yes, Daddy always burns them." "Hey," Isaac protested with a laugh. "I'm standing right here." The kitchen filled with flour dust and laughter as Erica guided Allison through the recipe. Isaac watched from the counter, struck by how natural this felt. How Erica patiently explained each step, how she didn't flinch when Allison accidentally spilled vanilla extract on her sweater, how she asked about Allison's favorite subjects at school and actually listened to the answers. "My mom used to let me lick the spoon," Allison said suddenly, her voice quieter. The kitchen went still. Isaac tensed, ready to redirect the conversation, but Erica just smiled gently. "My mom did too. Want to know a secret? I still do it, even though I'm a grown-up." Allison's face brightened. "Really? Really? Here." Erica handed her the mixing spoon. "But just a little bit. We need some for the cupcakes." As Allison carefully licked the spoon, Isaac caught Erica's eye. She gave him a small, understanding nod. She knew what she was doing, making space for Julia's memory instead of pretending she'd never existed. The cupcakes turned out perfect, and as they sat around the kitchen table eating them, Allison talked more than she had in months. About school, about her friends, about missing her mom, but also about the good memories they'd shared. After Allison went to watch TV, Isaac walked Erica to the door. "Thank you," he said. "You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," Erica replied. "She's wonderful, Isaac. You're doing an amazing job with her." "I don't feel like I am most days." "That's how you know you're doing it right." Erica paused, then added, "I'd like to come back sometime, if that's okay. I miss this, the simplicity of just being with people who understand." Isaac nodded, feeling something shift in his chest. "I'd like that too." Over the next few months, Erica's visits became regular. Some Saturdays, she'd bring ingredients for a new recipe. Other times, she'd just show up with coffee and listen while Isaac talked about his week. Slowly, carefully, the walls between them came down. Isaac found himself looking forward to her visits in a way that made him feel guilty. He'd catch himself checking his phone, hoping for a text from her. He'd replay their conversations in his head while lying in bed at night. And worst of all, he'd started noticing small things. The way she laughed, the way her eyes lit up when Allison told her stories, the way she always remembered Allison's favorite flavor of ice cream. One evening, after Erica had left and Allison was getting ready for bed, his daughter padded into the living room in her pajamas. "Daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart?" "I like Miss Hayes. She's nice." "She is." Allison climbed onto the couch next to him, her expression serious. "Do you like her?" Isaac's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" "I mean, do you like her like you liked Mommy?" The question hung in the air. Isaac opened his mouth, then closed it. How did he answer that? How did he explain that yes, he was developing feelings for Erica, but it felt like a betrayal to Julia's memory? "It's okay if you do," Allison said softly. "Mommy would want you to be happy. She told me that once, before she got really sick. She said if something happened to her, she wanted you to find someone who made you smile again." Isaac felt tears prick his eyes. "She said that to you?" Allison nodded. "I think you should tell Ms. Hayes. I think you like her, and I think she likes you too." That night, after Allison was asleep, Isaac sat in the dark with his phone in his hand. He'd been fighting these feelings for weeks, telling himself it was too soon, too complicated, too impossible. But Allison's words echoed in his mind. He typed out a message to Erica before he could overthink it. "Are you awake?" Her response came quickly. "Yes. Everything okay? Can we talk? Tomorrow, maybe?" "Of course. My place or yours?" "Yours, if that's okay. After I drop Allison at her friend's house." "I'll make coffee. See you at 10? "See you then." Isaac set his phone down, his heart racing. Tomorrow, he'd tell her the truth. Tomorrow, he'd take the risk. Because Allison was right, Julia would have wanted him to be happy. And Erica made him feel something he thought he'd never feel again. Hope. Isaac stood outside Erica's apartment door, his hand raised to knock, his heart hammering against his ribs. He'd rehearsed what he wanted to say during the entire drive over, but now every word had evaporated from his mind. Just knock. Just do it. He rapped his knuckles against the door, and seconds later, Erica opened it, smiling warmly. She was wearing jeans and an oversized cardigan, her hair down instead of pulled back in her usual professional style. She looked different, softer, beautiful. "Come in," she said, stepping aside. "Coffee's ready." Isaac followed her into the apartment, taking in the cozy space. Bookshelves lined one wall, filled with novels and cookbooks. Framed photos sat on the mantel. Erica and an older woman who must have been her mother, both of them laughing. "Your apartment is nice," Isaac said, accepting the mug she handed him. "Thanks. It's been my sanctuary since Mom passed." Erica settled onto the couch, curling her legs beneath her. "So, what did you want to talk about? You seemed serious in your text." Isaac sat down across from her, gripping his coffee mug like a lifeline. This was it. No backing out now. "I need to tell you something, and I don't really know how to say it without sounding like an idiot." Erica's expression shifted, concern flickering across her face. "Isaac, whatever it is, you can tell me." He took a deep breath. "These past few months, having you in our lives, in my life, it's changed everything. You've helped me in ways I didn't even know I needed help." You made Allison smile again. "You made me feel like maybe I could survive this grief." "Isaac, please, let me finish before I lose my nerve." He set his mug down, his hands shaking slightly. "I never thought I'd feel this way about anyone again. After Julia died, I convinced myself that was it. One great love per lifetime, and I'd had mine. But then you showed up at my door with cupcakes, and you let Allison talk about her mom without making it awkward, and you understood my grief without me having to explain it, and I—" He paused, meeting her eyes. "I'm falling for you, Erica. Maybe I already have fallen, and I know this complicates everything. Work, our friendship, all of it. But I couldn't keep pretending I don't feel this way." The silence that followed felt endless. Erica stared at him, her expression unreadable, and Isaac's stomach dropped. He'd made a mistake. He'd ruined everything. Then she smiled, and her eyes filled with tears. "Isaac, I've been terrified you'd never say that." His breath caught. "What? Do you think I show up at my employees' houses every Saturday to bake cupcakes?" She laughed, wiping at her eyes. "I've been falling for you too. From that first night, when you were honest about your grief, when you let me see the real you, not the polished professional version you show at work. But I was afraid to say anything. Afraid I'd make you uncomfortable. Afraid I'd ruin what we were building." Isaac felt like his heart might burst out of his chest. "So you feel the same way?" "Yes, you idiot." Erica moved to sit beside him, taking his hand in hers. "I've felt the same way for months. I just didn't know if you were ready, if it was too soon. I don't know if there's a right time for this," Isaac admitted. "All I know is that when I'm with you, I feel like myself again. Not just the grieving widower, not just Allison's dad, just me." Erica squeezed his hand. "That's exactly how you make me feel." They sat there for a moment, hands intertwined, years of loneliness and grief finally giving way to something new. Something neither of them had been looking for, but both desperately needed. "So what happens now?" Isaac asked. "Now?" Erica smiled. "Now we figure it out together, one day at a time." Isaac leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't. Their lips met softly, tentatively, and Isaac felt something click into place, like a part of himself he'd thought was lost forever had suddenly been found. When they pulled apart, Erica rested her forehead against his. "For the record, this is the best mistake you've ever made." Isaac laughed. "Sending that text to you instead of Julia?" "Exactly that. Sometimes the universe knows what we need better than we do." 3 months later, Isaac stood in his kitchen with Allison, flour covering the counter and chocolate chips scattered everywhere. They were attempting Erica's famous double, chocolate cupcakes for a special occasion. "Dad, you're doing it wrong again," Allison said, giggling as Isaac tried to fold the batter. "I'm following the recipe exactly." "No, you're supposed to fold it gently. That's what Erica always says." The doorbell rang, and Allison's face lit up. She's here. Isaac's heart rate picked up. Tonight was the night. He had the ring in his pocket. Simple, elegant, exactly what he thought Erica would like. Not a replacement for what he'd had with Julia, but something entirely new. A promise of a different future. Allison ran to answer the door, and moments later, Erica appeared in the kitchen doorway, her eyes sparkling with amusement at the disaster zone. "Should I be worried?" she asked. "We're making your cupcakes," Allison announced proudly, "for a special surprise." "Oh, really?" Erica walked over, inspecting their work. "Well, they're certainly creative." Isaac caught her eye and smiled. "We might need your help." "I think you might." Erica rolled up her sleeves, and together, the three of them worked to salvage the batter, laughing when Allison accidentally dabbed frosting on Erica's nose. As the cupcakes baked, filling the kitchen with the warm smell of chocolate, Isaac watched Erica and Allison chatting at the table, and his heart swelled. This was his family now. Different than before, but no less real, no less precious. When the timer went off and they pulled the cupcakes from the oven, perfectly golden and not burned, Isaac knew it was time. "You know," he said, setting the tray on the counter, "I've been thinking a lot about that night I sent you that text. How it was the biggest mistake I could have made." Erica tilted her head, curious. And I realized it wasn't a mistake at all. It was the universe pushing me toward exactly where I needed to be. He reached into his pocket, his hand closing around the small velvet box. "You came into our lives when we were drowning, Erica. You gave us hope. You gave us laughter. You gave us a reason to believe in tomorrow again." Erica's eyes widened as Isaac dropped to one knee, and Allison bounced excitedly beside her. "Erica Hayes, would you marry me? Would you let us be your family the same way you've become ours?" Tears streamed down Erica's face as she nodded, unable to speak for a moment. Then she whispered, "Yes. Yes, of course I will." Allison cheered as Isaac slipped the ring onto Erica's finger, and when he stood, Erica pulled him into a kiss that tasted like chocolate and tears and pure joy. "I love you," she whispered against his lips. "I love you too." Allison wrapped her arms around both of them, creating a three-person hug in the middle of the kitchen. And as they stood there, surrounded by the smell of fresh-baked cupcakes and the warmth of each other, Isaac felt something he hadn't felt in 2 years. Complete. 1 year later, Isaac and Erica stood in their backyard, surrounded by close friends and family. Allison stood beside them in a pale blue dress, holding a small bouquet and grinning from ear to ear. The ceremony was simple, intimate, everything they'd wanted. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and they kissed as the small crowd erupted in applause, Isaac caught Allison's eye. She gave him a thumbs up, and he couldn't help but laugh. At the reception, as they cut into a towering cupcake display instead of a traditional cake, Erica leaned close to Isaac. "Happy?" she asked. "Incredibly," he replied. "You?" "More than I ever thought possible." She paused, her eyes twinkling. "You know, I never thanked you properly for that text." Isaac laughed. "The one I sent by mistake? The one you sent exactly when you were supposed to?" Erica kissed his cheek. "Because it brought you to me, and I wouldn't change that for anything." Later that evening, as the celebration wound down and Allison danced with Erica's sister, Isaac pulled out his phone. He scrolled to Julia's old contact, the one he hadn't deleted, the one he probably never would. He typed one final message. "Thank you for Allison. Thank you for the years we had. And thank you for teaching me that love doesn't end. It just grows and changes and makes room for new people. I hope you're proud of us. I hope you know we're going to be okay." He hit send, letting the message disappear into the void one last time. Then he pocketed his phone and walked back to his family, his daughter, his wife, his future. Because sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right one. Sometimes mistakes lead to miracles. And sometimes, when you think your story is over, the universe writes you a new beginning when you least expect it. If this story touched your heart, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever accidentally sent a text to the wrong person that ended up becoming a blessing in disguise? Drop your story in the comments below. We love reading them. Also, tell us the part that resonated with you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Story for more emotional journeys like this one. Hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear that second chances are real. Thank you for watching.